Well, today, let's see what the dual rectifier can deliver. One of the most iconic metal amps in the world is the Mesa Dual rectifier. And although it's a great metal amp, especially if you boost it with some kind of pedal, it can deliver great crunch tones and great cleans. So yeah, we will have a short look at this amp, what this amp can do by itself. And for that purpose, I'm using my Schecter Banshee 6FR with EMGs. The amp head is connected to the Marshall 1960 Vintage. It's mic'd with an SM57. That is the sound you're hearing. Currently I'm in the channel 2 Vintage mode with mids at 12 o'clock, treble 1 o'clock, bass at 9 o'clock, presets at 11 o'clock, gain at, well, 130. And it's a, well, it's a little bit noisy because I don't use a noise gate now, but the amp has an effects loop, so if you want to use some effects, noise gate or some shit, you can use it. For me personally, I didn't have the best experiences with the effects loop. It's not working that well. It's a little bit difficult to adjust the well, the signal amount of signal which is going into the effects unit. It's I think a parallel loop, or at least you can yeah, set the amount of the signal which is going in the loop, which is going direct into the power amp. Yeah, it's a little bit difficult to use, but by itself the amp sounds good to me, at least through the Marshall cabinet. And as you may know, this version of the amp has 3 channels, and the first channel has 2 modes. It's a clean channel. I can show you that maybe. Although most people don't buy the amp because of its clean tones, it has great cleans. So this is the clean mode of the clean channel. Nice Fenderish cleans, I think. And if you switch to the pushed mode, you have this very dynamic light crunch sound, where when you strum very light, it's almost clean, but if you you're playing really strong, then maybe you can get that kind of AC/DC rhythm crunch sound. So it's maybe overlooked, this channel, but in my opinion it's great. It's very dynamic, and yeah, it offers great cleans. But of course we're here for the high gain sounds. So channel 2 I showed you before, the vintage mode. And the modern mode. To me the difference between vintage and modern is mostly in the top end. It has way more sizzle in the top end, and to be honest I don't use the modern mode that much. But yeah, we can reduce the presence here in the modern mode and the treble a little bit. Maybe crank the mids. But I have to say the tone stack in the amp, it doesn't do that much to the sound. So it's not the most versatile amp in the world. Let's go back to the vintage mode. And yeah. And finally we have channel 3, also in the vintage mode. So, channel 3 in the vintage mode. And the modern mode. Oh, it's very harsh. So here I have to dial back the presence. Well, the modern mode is also a little bit more bass heavy. So together with the sizzle, you could also say it's more scooped. And I personally prefer the vintage mode. So let's go back to that. And in the raw mode of the channel 3, we have a similar sound, but it just doesn't have that much gain. So I think in the vintage modes of channel 2 and 3, you can get great high gain tones, especially if you boost it with the pedal. Unfortunately, I don't have a pedal connected now, but with the EMGs and this setting, where the gain is around maybe 2 o'clock or a little bit more, it sounds great to me already, without any additional tools like boosts or effects in the effects loop. So finally I will show you the difference between the vintage mode of channel 2 and 3, where I have in both channels the same setting: treble at 1 o'clock, mids at 12 o'clock, bass at 8 o'clock, presence at 9 o'clock, and gain around 230. So starting with channel 3, we have this. Channel 2. It's a little bit louder. So. Channel 3. Channel 3. Channel 2. So I think this amp is delivering great distorted sounds, great crunch tones, and also great clean tones. It's not the most versatile amp in the world if it comes to live use, because with the foot switch you have only the ability to select one of the 3 channels, but not you don't have access to the different modes. Also, it has a vacuum and a silicon mode. I'm currently in the vacuum tube mode. And it sounds great. It's very dynamic, which is way overlooked in most situations. But it's not the most flexible amp. So if you like how the amp sounds, of course you need a decent cap, then you should get it. In my opinion, there's no amp in the world which sounds like a dual rectifier. If you are after a more flexible high gain amp, which is maybe easier to use as far as dialing in the tones is concerned, maybe you should look for the PV's 6505 or the JSX, or of course the Angles Powerball is a great amp. And if you like Marshall tones, the JVM is the most flexible Marshall, and also one of the best sounding I know. Yeah, I hope this helps you to get a first impression of the dual rectifier. Post your comments below. See you soon. Bye.